Hello, my name is Sean Reynolds. I am the owner of Summit Properties Northwest and Reynolds and Kline Appraisal. And we're just going to jump right in to how to read an MLS listing and also the associated King County tax records or whatever county that you're working in, the related tax records for that property. So here we go. So I've pulled up a random listing here in Bellevue, and I'm just going to start right with the address, and we're going to kind of read down and over and down and over, and we'll just get into it. So the MLS number, and you'll see that this is hyperlinked, so you can click on any of these hyperlinks and it'll lead you to additional information. This one leads you to listing history, sales history from public records, and mortgage history. So if you want more information, and oftentimes you'll see a hyperlink, hit it, see where it takes you. Marketing area. This is an MLS marketing area, and this is in area 530. You can do a search for MLS marketing areas, and there'll be a map. And it'll show you just areas all over, what those individual numbers are and where those numbers correspond to. The sub property, that indicates what kind it is. Is it residential? Is it commercial? Those kind of things. The community, this is the location within Bellevue. This happens to be in the Ardmore plat, so it's indicated as Ardmore. Style code. There are numerous style codes that the MLS has indicated. This one is 10. Style 11 is style 1.5. Style 12 is 2-story. Style 13 is tri-level. Style 14 is split level. 15 is multi-level, and the list goes on. You can do a quick search for that in the MLS as well, and they'll have a breakdown of what all those are. The project is Ardmore. The number of bedrooms is 4. Bathrooms, 1.75. That confuses people. One bathroom is a full bathroom, meaning it's got a toilet, sink, shower, and tub. A 3/4 bath, like this one is indicating, means it has a full bath, and then the 0.75 means it's got a shower, toilet, and sink, does not have the tub. That's what makes it a 3/4 bathroom. Covered parking, 2. That could be either carport, garage, something along that nature. As we're looking at this photo, it looks like it's a 2-car garage. The square footage is 1,250 square feet. The lot size is 0.221 of an acre being 43,560. So the actual square footage of this site is 9,605. Compensation, this is the number you care about. Compensation, how much am I going to get paid? This one's 2.5%. So the total compensation on this would be 1.16 million times 0.025%. And that gives you what you're going to get paid. Office is going to take off a little off the top, however you have your deal. All right, the status, S, that is for sold. That means this is a closed transaction. Other statuses you could have are active. You could have pending. You could have backup. You could have whole bunch of those. This one is sold, right? Status date. This means when it actually closed. This one is December 5th, 2023. Dues, that would indicate homeowners' dues usually. You'll see that on condos all the time because they have homeowners dues. Single family, you might have that for a homeowners association. The year built, 1964. Fireplaces, we got Uno. Price per square foot, $928. That is an indication of the sales price, $1.16 million divided by 1,250. That'll give you that number, 928. CDOM stands for Combined Days on Market. This one was 27. That means they put it on the market, XYZ date, 27 days later is when this property went pending. All right, we've got the tax year, 2023. List price that's the original price, was 1.18. The sold price, that's what it actually closed and recorded for, 1.16. The office, Windermere Real Estate East, and you'll see that's blue, so you can hyperlink that. That'll take you to information for that office. That's the listing office. The broker, and that'll take you to information on Monica Lee, the listing agent on this transaction. Here is the phone number, and that's probably a cell number for Monica. Phone to show, that is if you have instructions, hey, call the seller, call the tenant, whatever, that's where that number would be. The owner's name, you got Shun Wang. You got owner number 2, that's their name. Occupant name, NA, because this property is occupant type, vacant. So tax ID number. Now we're going to circle back. Once I've kind of shown you everything on this page, we're going to circle back and click on that, and that'll take us to the tax records, and I'll walk you through what that looks like. You could also click on here, and that'll take you to the realist map. The annual taxes for this property for 2023 are $7,286. The key, this is how you get access to this property. You got an MLS key box, you've got showing time, and it's vacant. So basically go and show. And there will oftentimes be some type of instructions on how to get into the property. Here's indication of offers. Here's how the seller wants to see the offers. Seller intends to review offers upon receipt. Sometimes there will be an instruction on, okay, we're going to do it at a certain date, an offer review period. But on this one, those are the instructions. Directions. GPS works perfectly. Back in the day, before we had cell phones, we had to have either directions or a Thomas Brothers map. No longer really need that. You just punch it into your phone and go, right? Marketing remarks. Let's just read through these. Beautifully updated 4-bedroom Rambler in prime Bellevue. This bright Rambler boasts both elegance and a functionality. Discover a new sleek designer chef's kitchen. It just basically goes through all the information, and you can pick out a lot of information and kind of combine that with the photos. We are going to look at the photos because that gives you a really good idea of, what you can explain to your buyers. And also if you're working with the seller, hey, this home sold for this, it had these features. So make sure you just read through that. Okay, some other things that we can do is if you have a whole bunch of listings, you can click on upper left here and indicate you want to do something with this specific listing. Things that you can do. You can email this bad boy out. So if you click on that, you're gonna go ahead and you can send that to a client direct. You can print it out. Gives you a menu of what kind of printing you'd like to see. You can share the link. You can do a CMA. You can get directions from here. Let's take a quick peek at that in case you just, for whatever reason, wanted to send this to a client, whatever. You can put your address in here and it'll literally give you a line item of directions of how to get there. We've got export. That is for exporting within a certain array of data. If you want to do something, you can work on that. Schedule showing. That's for showing time. Click on that and there might be instructions. This one was vacant, so I don't think you had to do that. But when you see schedule showing time, that's when you want to click on that button. All right, so you've got some other things here. You've got refine, you've got save, you've got carts. Those are additional things that you can do with this listing. But let's circle back up and around. You've got this kind of world thing here. You got the globe, the Earth globe. Click on that. We're going to look at a map. Where is this property located? So you've got that. So here is your parcel here. There's a bunch of different things you can hear. You can change that to satellite here. It gives you a different view. You can put on labels. You can do layers. You can recenter. If you want to play with that stuff, go for it. There's so much information that you can gather from all of these links. Let's go view photos next. So that'll give you the main photo there. You can go ahead and click thumbnails. That'll give you little pictures of all the photos that are in here. We want to just kind of scroll through. Let's take a quick peek. Just arrows through the photos and you get a good idea of, hey, this is what that house looks like. So we got to photos. The next one over is this clock, kind of this alarm clock. This is property history. Now you can learn a lot from this section that'll give you an idea of what has happened to the listing history on this property in the past, what has happened to the listing history on this listing. So let's take a look at this listing here. So here's a listing number. That's just the listing MLS listing. And then we've got a number of things that happened. So most recently, 12/5/23, it closed. It went from pending to sold. And that's based on the status. Here's another status indication. On November 9th, 2023, we went from active to pending. Compensation, somebody included 2.5% there. These are just kind of updates, and it's telling you things that happened to this property during its listing history. Also on this page, and you've got some hyperlinks here, you've got sales history from the public records. Now we're going to get into that on the tax record, so we don't really need to look at that right now. But so that was the property history. Now we've got Realist, or we got Realist Maps, or I'm going to go to the supplements. These are additional forms that the listing agent, Monica Lee, has uploaded on this property. All right, so these are additional pieces of information served up by the listing agent in the form of a document. We've got a legal description. Need to have that with every single offer. So here, they've gone ahead and put the seller's signatures and also the date. So you can go ahead and have your buyer sign. That's the first one. We've got utilities addendum. This is Form 22K, and they've provided this. So your buyer can go ahead and fill that parcel out, that form out. I blew that. Here we go. Additional broker remarks. Let's see what this one looks like. This is a notice to buyer, a seller procured inspection report. You may see this, you may not see this in a listing. It just kind of depends on which forms the listing agent and their seller have decided to include. In this one, it's a whole house inspection. And so they are saying, hey, we've got this inspection. It's available. You might want to see it. You might not. Kind of depends on just how you want to make that work. You've got a pre-inspection agreement, meaning that you could go in and have a pre-inspection done prior to making an offer if you wanted to. And this is paperwork indicating that that you can have your buyer sign and get that part done. Preliminary commitment. This is title. You can look through this and get all the information that you need from title. Oftentimes, listings will include that. Let's go. What else do we have? Additional broker remarks. Let's take a peek and see what that looks like. These are just some additional features. So this is more of a flyer type information sheet that you might find. Seller disclosure, that's the Form 17. So that way your buyer would be able to take a look at that and either sign, yeah, we agree with this, or maybe they find something they don't like and they're like, okay, we're not going to consider this property. Lead-based paint, Form 22J, if the home is built prior to 1978, 1979, somewhere right in there. The FERPTA statement, that is declaring whether the homeowner is a legal resident for taxation purposes, whether they are or aren't. Then we've got additional broker remarks. Let's see what this is offer instructions. So you want to check through all of these additional addendum and see what they are, because here they have indicated some pretty specific things and kind of an order that they want to have included on an offer if it comes through. If the property is super hot, oftentimes the seller will give an indication, okay, we know we're going to have a lot of offers come. This is how we want to see things progress on this property. And then you've got transaction desk. So you could literally click this and it would take you through a hyperlink to transaction desk. And it'll give it a second. It's grinding through its gears, making sure it wants to bring everything in. And there you go. Create transaction. You can start a transaction right from there. Say that you wanted to have your buyers make an offer on it. And then you just kind of go from there and make your offer, and it's already in your transaction desk. So we're going to get rid of that. All right. So that is super basic rundown of what's on a listing. Now you could go to client full. You saw that menu right there. There's all kinds of different ways that you can present the data, but here's a full listing of this property. This information up here is all the same. This information here is the same. So you've got a little bit different on the room count here. These are just different ways that property information is kind of shared. And this is a pretty basic listing since it is a single family, it's a rambler styled, ranch styled, whatever you want to call it. And it doesn't have a lot of variation, but sometimes you'll see bedrooms located on different floors. Like here, the level is indicated main because it's all on one floor. If it was a multi-style home, you'd have different, bedrooms up on the upper floor. Maybe you've got a family room down below. You've got a half bath on the main, just whatever it might be. So you've got a handful of different ways that the information can be presented, but that's kind of a real quick rundown. Some of the other property descriptions will include school district, They will include, varying different maps for different things, but I just want to give you a quick rundown, and that's kind of what we're looking at here. All right, so let's click on the hyperlink for the tax records. This is going to take us to Realist, and it's grinding through. Here we are at Realist. So the property details is probably the one that you're going to want to spend the most time with, because that gives you all the information on your subject property. You could also go to comparables for this property. The Realist, the tax record system, is going to give you other comps that it's going to pop out. You probably want to choose that on your own. You've got marketing trends, you've got neighbors, you've got all kinds of different stuff, but property details here. Let's run through this. So MLS, so they give you an indication from the tax records what the prior MLS information is. Super helpful. So the MLS listing said 4 bedrooms. The MLS full baths are 1, half baths none. MLS sales price, okay. MLS data. So you've got all that, which we already ran through. Now you've got per the tax records, here are the names. You've got tax billing and zip and different zip code. You've got tax billing address. That's the address for the person who is paying the tax bill, not necessarily who is living at the property. This is tax billing address. Location information. You got the zip code, subdivision, school district name, Bellevue. That's super important. School district code. That way you could work it back. All right. Is this in school district code 405? You've got neighborhood code. You've got carrier route. You've got zoning. Zoning is an important one, R5. If you come up with a multifamily zoning, means you might be able to, develop something down the road. Pay attention to the zoning. That can be important. Range, townships, and section. That's section, township, range. It's a governmental survey method. So this is in the southwest quadrant of section 5, township 25, range 24. You don't really need to know that, but it's on there. Is it within 250 feet of multiple flood zone? No. Yet you'd pull a FEMA flood map if you wanted to find out. Say your property's on a river, but you got a high riverbank. Is this thing going to flood? You want to pull a FEMA flood map. Okay, so you got another hyperlink here. We can click on that. But what we're going to look at is the tax information. This is the 6-digit tax ID code. That's the tax ID for the plat. And your parcel number is the additional 4 numbers there. Percentage improved, 25%. It's an estimation based on what the tax records has. Here's your legal description. Now, you would have seen that on the title report as well. But the basic legal description for this property is Lot 3, Ardmore Edition, period. That's what it is. Let's get into the taxes. So here you've got all this information here is for 2023, 2022, 2021. And as you read across each one, you've got assessed value. That is what King County has assessed for this property, the total. And then you've got a breakdown of the land. And then you've got a breakdown of the improved. The improved would be the home, the garage, and that's about it. A little bit for site improvements, but typically not a ton. Market value, the total. This is what they are estimating. Market value, $802,000. Market value of the land, market value of improved. And then you've got some indicators of, all right, is it going down? Is it going up? Here we get into total tax. This is for the tax year. So you can see we've gone up pretty considerably from 2021 to 2023. In an upward market, oftentimes that's what you're going to see. You got a market that's slowing or declining, you're going to see some downward numbers. And then you've got change dollars and then change in percentage of those taxes for each year. Here's characteristics per the King County tax roll. Now, all this information we've already included. You can get an indication. This is from the assessor's standpoint. So you don't need to pay a ton of attention to this, but quality is average. Water source is public. That's a big one. If it says well, then you've probably got a private well on the property. Sewer, that's important. You've got public sewer on this one. You could have a septic tank, meaning you've got private sewer disposal on the property. Heating type, forced air. Garage is attached garage. Parking time, attached garage. Attached garage square footage. Now, why do you need to know that? Well, we've got an indicator of total living square footage of here of 1,250. but we've got gross area. That means total. That means square footage of the above grade for the home and also the garage. So if you take 1250 and add that to 480, that will give you 1730. So do not get those numbers confused, because you want to break out the gross living area from the garage, because they are not valued at the same number. One is unfinished garage, one is home, right? All right, we got one story. We've got, these are more indications of bedrooms. The tax records are indicating 3. The MLS is indicating 4. Now, so what happened there? Did they legally get this permitted for that 4th bedroom per the MLS? That's what you'd want to find out, because the home was probably originally permitted for 3 bedrooms. So a lot of information here that if you want to do a deep dive, you can kind of get into. You could call the homeowner, hey, did you get a permit for that 4th bedroom I see that wasn't here originally on the tax records, but the MLS is indicating that it is? And then you've got total baths. The tax record says 2. The MLS says 1.75. Oftentimes the tax records will up a 3/4 bath to a full bath. And that's why you see 2 on the tax and 1.75 there. Sell score indicator. That is the likelihood that this home is going to sell in the near future. This one is 913 out of 1,000. Very high. The criteria on that is how long has the seller had it, how much equity do they have, that kind of thing. And then they kind of run through, okay, what are the odds of this bad boy selling? And that's kind of what those numbers are there. Estimated value. This is an AVM created by Realist. And don't place a lot of weight on this. It's kind of like Zillow. It's a starting point in a conversation, but nothing more. Don't weight it heavily. Instead, look at the comparable sales, make your judgment based on that, because ultimately that's what your client is going to ask you to do. And if you're not familiar with how to do that, ask your managing broker, ask somebody who's got more experience. They're going to be more than happy to help you. Hey, this is how we search through for comparable sales. This one is similar. This one isn't. Look at this one irrelevant. So here, you've got an assessed value, basically a computer-generated value. Now, the computer hasn't walked through this home. The computer hasn't walked through the other comparable sales it's using, so it doesn't really know. But based on statistics and based on just, all right, we got this comp over here, we got this comp over here, we think that this home is somewhere between $1,060,000 and 1.234. The confidence score is 98. Forecast deviation from this range is 8. So if you're into stats, you can work that out. But this is the value as of 2/5/24. Is this, and here's some of their disclaimers here on what's going on with this data. Know that that's a number, the 1.147. Know that that's a number. Don't put a lot of weight on it. It's a conversation you can have with your buyer or your seller, depending on which end you're working. Rental trends. Okay, if you're looking at a client who's going to rent the property out, maybe you want to spend some time and go through this information. But again, computer hasn't seen the property. What's more important is that you can go look in the MLS under rented and see what properties have actually rented for. Place your weight on that. Don't place it on a statistically generated, well, the computer said, because oftentimes it's inaccurate or there's a big, huge range. And in this case, you can see the range is 3,100 to 4,300. That's a big range, right? I mean, so, well, how much do you think it will rent for? Well, between 3,100 and 43. That's a big difference. Can you hone that down a little? Yes. Let me go and look at the comps and I'll get back to you on that. Something along those lines. All right. So here is additional listing information that is in the tax records. You can hyperlink back to the listing there. And so much of this is based on what you've already got in your MLS listing history. Now, here is last market sale and sales history. So this is where you go to see what things actually closed for. Because oftentimes you might have incorrect information in the MLS. Maybe somebody forgot, you know what, we took 20 grand off that list price before we closed on it. So you want to look at the tax records because that is actually what things closed for. You can even go to the recorder's office online and see, what kind of deed they used and look and see, get some more information there. There's all kinds of stuff that you can look at before you even make an offer on these properties. We're going to run through this super quick. Here, the settle date says 12/4/23 and the MLS says 12/5/23. So that's a difference between the broker saying, I think it closed on the 5th. Tax records indicates on the stamp at the recorder's office, all right, it was the 4th. So this is within a day. It closed that first week of December. Sales price, this is what the tax records have. You got the owner's name, price per square foot. We already talked about that. Now, here's information on the sale that we, in 12/5/23, here's information in the previous sale, 2019. That's when these buyers bought it. Now, or these sellers bought it, I should say. There's a sale prior to that. So actually here, it looks like we've got a nominal, which is a quitclaim deed. So maybe somebody got married, somebody got divorced. We don't know what happened there, but it looks like a quitclaim deed was indicated. So that's what happened in 2019 because Wang Xuan purchased it in 2013 for $325. And here we are 10 years later selling for $1.16. So a lot of information there. Now you can kind of keep on going. And those are different prior sales. So you've got one in 07. You've got one in 2019. Let's keep going. I need to go like this. Mortgage history. This can be important to figure out, okay, when did the seller buy it? Did they load it up with a bunch of debt? Let's look at the mortgage history. So here you've got one. This is when it was purchased. So it looks like it was purchased for that 1.1 and they have a mortgage on it of 840. BECU was the lender, conventional. So it looks like they probably put 20% down. And then here's it looks like a refinance was done in 2020. So you can get a lot of information. Here's another in 2019, but maybe they refinanced it as rates were dropping between 2019, 2020. Because the actual amount went down. It went down from 175 to 168. So do you need to pay a lot of attention to that? Only if you're trying to work out how much room the seller has within their equity. And even then, it may not be accurate because they may have taken out a private loan. They may have done, a handful of other things. Maybe there's some unrecorded debt there. So don't place a huge amount, but know that that information is out there. All right, here's the property type. This is the map per the tax records. These are site dimensions. You got 112 by 85. If you want a super accurate way of measuring, you can get a survey done on the property. Even on a rectangular property like that, that could run into the thousands, will run into the thousands if you're going to get extended title instead of just your standard title policy. That can be done. Otherwise, you can kind of rely on this. You can multiply these numbers and see if that comes out to that 9,000 figure we talked about at the beginning of the listing. And here's kind of an overview map that the realist has included in that. Okay, so that is about it for that's a real quick rundown on what you've got in the tax records. Again, you can click on these other tabs and there's just all kinds of information. Here's your assessor's map. This might be the other information that would be interesting for you. Here is an actual, all right, so I think we go here and it's going to pop up an actual map and then you can blow that up and it will give you, let's go. Yeah. So say this was your parcel. This gives you a more accurate per what is recorded on the tax in the plat map when this plat was developed. So you've got all kinds of layers of information is the bottom line between not only your MLS listing, but your tax records and numerous other hyperlinks within here. So that is a super quick overview. There's more information out there. The MLS, you want to start poking around in the MLS, they've got a ton of videos, a bunch of information that breaks this down into far greater detail. But I wanted to give you just a quick rundown. All right, here's the nuts and bolts. If you had to spend, whatever time I've got into here, half an hour, is this going to get you going? Absolutely. All right. If you're enjoying this content, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe. We're doing a ton of videos. We've done a ton of videos that we're already redoing because quick 5 years goes by. I am also the host of News for Reasonable People. That's on YouTube and all your podcast platforms. Love to have you subscribe there if that's your thing. I kind of read some conservative news. That's what we're doing. Thank you for watching. Love to have you subscribe. Hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. And I'll catch up with you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.